administrators, thank you so much for joining me today. This afternoon we're going to be talking about formative assessment technologies, or FATS for short. So, what exactly is a formative assessment technology? Formative assessments are tools that teachers use to gain feedback on students' growth or progress through the course of a lesson, using technology to collect the data. This gives us instant information on where our students are struggling and where we can help support them. There are a bunch of these different technologies available today, so they can all be tailored to any lesson or subject as you see fit. I chose to research more on this because I think it's super important to find out how to support your students the best and ways that you can be there to guide their education. With the use of this technology, the importance of this information just becomes a lot more valuable and a lot more time sensitive. So I think this is critical to help make our formative assessments more meaningful. Why is it important? Well, we use formative assessments every day at some level, no matter what. Doing this can be an extensive process, and once we've collected the data, the information might not be valuable at the moment because so much time has passed. Well, using technology to do this can make the information way more critical and valuable to the lesson, and it can make instant changes happen for a teacher within their classroom. It's also important because it gives the students a better understanding of where they're at and what expectations they have going forward and what goals they need to be setting for themselves. Making this information available to the students as well as to yourself in a much more real-time situation can help make the experience of education more meaningful for everybody. So, let's take a look at the benefits and costs of formative assessment technologies. One of the benefits is that it can show when a majority of a class has reached a proficient level, as well as when a student is proficient, as well as when students are not proficient, and then help you judge from there where your teaching should go. Another benefit is the large variety of technologies available, as well as their variety to customize each platform. Students can engage with each platform in a variety of ways, such as answer styles. I know that multiple platforms have at least 9 different answer styles. There are also different styles to the assessment, so there are more game-based assessments, such as Kahoot or open answer question platforms like Nearpod. Looking at the costs. One cost is that technology isn't always reliable. Technology can crash, and that is just out of our control and might be more inconvenient to our lesson at that point. Some lessons might not be an appropriate time to use technology. They might be more traditional and paper and pencil, which is okay. Some of this information could intimidate students and make them feel discouraged. So having that information could be a deter if they don't feel like they're stacking up to their peers as much. Moving on. How does this work? So, according to my research, I found that this instant feedback promotes knowledge diffusion within students and helps promote discussion within the classroom and wants students to provoke their understanding more once they get this information. So if they feel like they're not at a proficient level that they want to be, they should be working to understand and collaborate to get better. This also supports and empowers students in a formative process by providing feedback that students can access independently. So they're becoming more independent in this process and working to better themselves with this instant feedback. So, then, how does this align with the universal design for learning? Multiple means of engagement. So, there are different types of platforms, like we talked about earlier. Some are game based, some are more open ended. Kahoot and Gimkit Live are assessments that are competitive and they push students to stay engaged through games. In the open-ended ones, there are just a variety of answer types that help students stay engaged, and not one assessment has to be the same as another. So everything can be really customizable and unique. Multiple means of representation. This is super convenient and allows for everything to be customized within the website. So students can have a lot of different assistants offered to them, such as text to speech, braille assistant, visual display adjustments. Every platform that I researched had some type of adaptation to it to make it really, really accessible to every type of student. Multiple means of action and expression. So this was really key. I thought all of these were really represented. But multiple means of action and expression I thought was really important because it goes on to talk about how each style of answering a question is really important. So Kahoot offers 9 ways to answer a question, being quizzes, true, false, open answer, stuff like that. So the way that a student answers a question and engages with the technology will not always be the same, which I think is perfect. Some ways to integrate it into your classroom. So one way I chose was in a middle school science classroom, using it on a lesson of Kepler's laws. I created a 10-question Kahoot to just have students review the information and then have me judge where they're at and their proficiency. One thing I thought was important in this example is that students have the option to remain anonymous, and that kind of takes the pressure away from the competition and makes them not feel like they're being compared to their peers in the game type of situation. Next, I used Google Forms in a 5th grade math class to complete a lesson on graphing. So this one I just used because it featured how I could change what kind of questions I was asking of my students. So I asked them to complete a graph, fill in a chart, complete 2 true or false questions, and then left an answer area for them to submit questions. I would require them to ask one question just to push themselves. In this one, I did ask for their names, but I'm not sharing it with the class, so it will still remain anonymous. Those are just 2 ways that I would integrate them into my future classrooms, but like I said, they're all adaptive and accommodative to any subject or student, so you can really use them for any classroom. Lastly, here are my resources that I have used to research this subject, so thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it.